Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy New Year's. We're back at it. First day of the year. Did not trade yesterday or the 31st. Not yesterday. Today or the 31st. I did trade the 30th. I did trade DRMA, so you can see here. We'll go back to where I entered on DRMA. So we're going to show my entries and exits. So my entries at this time, I entered at 7:11 in the morning. This was the only stock that was really good on the day. Let's go here. I get in for a 7-Eleven and I pretty much hold for 30 seconds. So we'll look on a 10-second chart. Never mind. I don't think it'll show me 30th. No, yeah, see, for some reason, the 10-second chart only goes up to like 2 days, but on the 1 minute chart, I can go up further. So I get in at 7-Eleven and I get out at 7:12. I actually ended up getting in pretty high on DRMA. Um, I entered for about an average of 254, and let's see, trade 200 shares. Okay, so initially I got in two trades. Not this was one trade that profited $2 on this trade on this seven two 1 minute candles between here and here, but they were both 30-second holds. The second one was at 7:16 in the morning, and this was around this low. I actually got in pretty high. If we go over here to my entries, I got in at 262, 258, and then I sold for about 20 seconds later, pretty much at this bottom of this candle for almost at the bottom 251, and that lost me $7. And had I held, maybe I would have made a little bit. um, I don't remember the thought process going on there. I don't think there was news. It was very light, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. I only profited $2. I can't say only, it's still money, but I just didn't feel confident that this was going to be a good trade, and I maybe shouldn't have traded. So that's why yesterday and today I did not trade. Keep saying yesterday. I forgot we're off yesterday. I didn't trade the 31st and I didn't trade today. Um, there was nothing to trade. And I'm like, okay, starting off the new year great. Taking less is more. I really have to live by that. And that's going to show my trading. So I didn't take any trades. There wasn't anything to really trade. No, nothing was good. I just went back to sleep early. I woke up. I checked what stocks were on. I saw a lot of Chinese, and I was like, you know what? It's January 2nd, and I don't think things will really start kicking in until maybe next week. So we will see. Robinhood. So what did I trade? I traded IWM on Friday. Not Friday, the 31st. I got in for a 246 contract for 363, and I profited about $60 on the day, which I sold today. So on my Robinhood Legend, we're gonna go over what I was looking at. The IWM, the small cap index, was selling off for a pretty long time. So this is what I was looking at. And I was like, okay, we're gonna bounce at some point. And at the 31st, I was like, hey, this looks like this MACD is starting to close. This was a bit risky because the 920 MA are still, flipped. 9 is below the 20, and I'm like, okay, this could be risky, but we've been selling off for the last couple days, and I feel like this was due for some pullback. And on this trend, looks like we broke through this resistance trend, and this MACD is starting to go positive. So we will see. Really, once those exponential moving averages start to diverge and get closer and flip again from the 9 over the 20, I think we could see some maybe potential action up to maybe 250, 255. But I just thought that, hey, I think we're gonna gap up maybe on, well, today, and it profited me $60. I didn't take any day trades today on the SPX or SPY. I mean, wait, I already have SPY on there. Wasn't focused on this, but I did see a double top and it was already sinking. I was like, damn, I should have taken that trade, but could have, would have, should have. It's something I wasn't paying attention. I was mainly looking at the IWM, like, hey, like what's gonna go on. I wanted to make sure I wanted to get out my position safely as I could. But then, early later today, we can see here after SPY dumped, it rallied back up all the way to 640, 684. So honestly, you could have profited both ways, both calls or puts. And this is a really good day to do both, but I was working. Most of us are in our jobs within this area. If you're working, we're not going to be paying attention. So yeah, I did get FOMO, and we're starting to, rally up again, coming into the close, 12:59. But most of us are working within this area, and we're not going to capture this move. The ideal capture move, I guess, if your work starts at 9, you probably have between 6:30 maybe 8:30 to be in a position, because I personally don't like to be in a position that I'm going to sell that same day, for while I'm going to be at work. That's just too much anxiety. So I can't deal with that. And that's why I like day trading small cap stocks and get in, get out. But aside from that, and look, we're starting to gap up. So we might gap up this coming Monday. But something else caught my eye. So I'm using this 4 hour time frame that I mentioned. Let me move my camera right over here. So I mentioned this 4 hour time frame, but I started looking at the weekly in a bigger perspective. I zoomed out a little bit, and I'm starting to see that, hey, we've been really strong since April. May is when we started turning the flip, and or when we started turning the MACD into positive, it was green, and that's when we've had this, 5 month rally. Um, and now the MACD is starting to flip negative, and this is on a weekly chart. And the only thing is, it's not showing on just IWM. This is showing the same thing on SPY. You know, oh, I had my line there. It's fine. I'll trash it. But same thing. And the issue will be is if once these 9 to 20 averages start to diverge and flip. Right now it's 9 over the 20, but once this starts to show weakness, we could be in for some sort of correction. Same thing on the QQQ. I mean, this is all trend based. This is all what I'm looking at. This is what I'm seeing on, a bigger scale. Um, Things can very well change very quickly, but this, I guess, is suggesting some sort of pullback, some sort of correction. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to say, hey, buy this, buy that, but just be aware that, hey, we could be due for a pullback, because I know everyone's wanting to hit that special number at 700 SPY, you know, but it might not happen. We might need a pullback before we get to there, and who knows how far this pullback will be. What are we looking at for next week? Well, next week we got economic reports. I don't think Monday or Tuesday will be really, well, maybe Monday continuing um, the momentum from today, but maybe that could be where we reject and we start heading further down. And I guess everything will tell by the numbers and what Thursday tells us on employment reports, and Friday as well, and jobless claims. We will see. But I honestly thought that this was interesting. Like, hey, I know I'm looking at a 4 hour chart. The 4 hour chart. So on the IWM, we'll go back to there. We'll just go back to there just because I was taking a position on there. So on the 4 hour chart, we peaked right here. I did have lines drawn, uh, ascending support, ascending resistance, and it did break through. I just took them off a while ago, but it did break through trend and began a new trend, and it started going like that for about almost a week or more. Started trending down for more than a week, I guess, in a couple days or so, give or take. But I'm also noticing that the 200 moving average right here is where things are also center support and where we could bounce back. But I mean, if we're looking at it from a bigger perspective, if we start to close these two averages, then you know this we could be in another pullback. We could, or maybe we can just briefly touch the 20 MA like we did here, and we instantly recovered within this whole week. This is a weekly chart, week to week, November 17th to November 24th. This was crazy. The low of this week was, well, this week we dumped from, we're at 228 on the IWM this week. The next week after 248. So that's like $28, $20 on an index within a week is really, really good. That's not very often. That's not very common. And you can profit by a lot on options from that. But that's just my 2 cents on what I think we might be seeing. I don't know. You guys tell me. Um, I didn't trade anything today in small caps, so I figured, hey, let me just cover a bit of the overall market, and that is my prediction. I think we're gonna sell off for a little bit, correct, and then reposition for a move higher. It's always gonna be like that. There's always gonna be some sort of correction, but it's a matter of when, if, and how, I guess. And obviously, if there's other catalysts to drive that, I feel like if we get one bad piece of news, it's gonna sink pretty quick. But yeah, we'll see you guys Monday. I'm going to go over my trading gear, some of the metrics, and then just some things, some plans I want to implement into my trading and how I want to improve it so that way I don't give back my profits. This year I am green. My first year of trading, I am green, and I'm proud of that. But there's definitely a lot of improvements in order to not. you know, jeopardize the account, but also to maintain that consistency and being okay with more no trade days. So today I think I did a good step forward. Didn't trade, didn't feel like I was forced to, and I think over time I'm gonna be more comfortable saying, yeah, I'd rather just not trade today. All right, take care. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.